What's going on, guys? It's Snooze603, and I'm joined, as always, by fakethriller. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
See, he does what I tell him to. So we're going to talk about a couple things. First and foremost, Medal of Honor Warfighter, and followed by the Battlefield 4 Beta that you get with the as an exclusive for the pre-order of Medal of Honor Warfighter. Me personally, I think this is a good thing, but to anyone that's kind of been paying attention to what's going on within the community, there seems to be a lot of negativity going around with everything about this. And we kind of wanted to touch upon it because, one, we're excited for just the idea of Battlefield 4, and two, we're both looking forward to Medal of Honor Warfighter.
Yeah, I don't want to come off as like we're being these noble people that are standing up for DICE or whoever happens to be developing either of these upcoming games, but I do feel like everyone as a whole is pretty much overreacting, and I'm not naming anyone in particular as like going like ape shit or anything, but everyone's like so pissed off, saying that DICE is going to stop supporting Battlefield 3 and that there should be a longer window between Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and
they're also saying
Bad
right.
Company 3 should come out and everything like that. But I don't know how people can really be too surprised by this, because the writing is on the wall with what EA is trying to do with Battlefield, and that's compete with Call of Duty. So the best way to compete with Call of Duty is to emulate the Call of Duty plan. And I mean, they tweaked it in certain regards by alternating every other title between Battlefield and Medal of Honor and giving them different aspects, but for the most part, this makes perfect sense. Like, I guess I don't know if people would be really that mad if it was just Bad Company 3 instead of Battlefield 4, but to me, I don't really see a difference.
No, I agree with that, and I don't really understand why the community is so up in arms. And it's not just a few individuals. It seems that the majority of the Battlefield 3 community as a whole, or just the Battlefield community, not necessarily BF3, are really kind of upset about this, and it's because a lot of them feel that Battlefield 3 is not going to get the kind of support it has been getting as time goes on from this point forward.
That's like actually a dicey statement, because dicey.
Hey.
Because there's a very clear distinction between the type of support Battlefield 3 has been getting and what people feel Battlefield 3 should be getting.
This is true.
So, but so when we reference things, I guess we have to just sort of preface it by saying that we mean what it has gotten, meaning the number of patches and everything. You can't say that. I mean, obviously they haven't done what everybody wants, so you can't use that as like the pedestal mark. So continue with your thought if I didn't sidetrack you too much.
No, I still remember what I was talking about. So, again, the general feel, or the majority feel so far from the community, is that they feel that DICE is already going to abandon Battlefield 3. They've already got their sights on Battlefield 4 because they've announced this beta. But I feel like a lot of people are ignoring the fact, or just completely sidestepping the fact, that they announced the beta for fall of 2013. Yeah. And they're also, okay, so going back to what they're saying, oh, Battlefield 3 still has so much life into it, why are you guys giving up on it? Well, they're not. Think about it. That's fall of 2013.
We're in summer of 2012.
Exactly. And if you guys remember, they have plenty of DLC still coming out for Battlefield 3, the last of which doesn't come out until January of 2013. So fall of 2013 can be in a 3-month span, but it can be as late as even October. So we're talking there could be up to 9 months between the last BF3 DLC and the release of the Battlefield 4 beta. And that's just the beta. Like, I know that the BF3 beta to game release was actually a pretty short window. I think it was about a month. I don't remember off the top of my head, and I'm sorry, guys, I don't have the exact data in front of me at this moment. But we don't know what it could be with Battlefield 4. I mean, they may have it planned for, we'll say September, okay? So fall of 2013, be September 2013. That could just be the beta, but the game they're not planning on releasing until March of 2014.
I am willing to bet money on the fact that it is going to almost identically mirror the Battlefield 3 beta and release. Like, Battlefield 4 will come out in October, because as much as they want to compete with Call of Duty, they will not release it on the same like day or week or within a week of Call of Duty, because what it comes down to is they need to give people time to save up enough money to not have to choose between the two.
Right, and I guarantee you that they'll continue to put it out before Call of Duty's release too, because there's still, I mean, you know, facing the facts, Modern Warfare 3 is much more popular. It has way more sales, and Battlefield's trying to compete for that same demographic, for that same audience. They're trying to capture those sales. So by releasing it slightly earlier, and like you said, a month earlier, so that, okay, in a month's time, a lot of people can justify, well, I can buy a video game now, and in a month from now, that's not too much money spent too close to, you know, to each other.
Right. But more importantly, what you were saying is they get Battlefield 4 in the hands of people playing it before Call of Duty.
Exactly, and it comes to that point of the year where everyone's itching for that new game. Like, okay, it's the fall season, all these new games are dropping, I just need something new. I've been playing this game fucking insanely way too much for the past, 10, 11 months. I need something new. So Battlefield 4 comes out before Modern Warfare 3. There's a good chance they could pull in way more people, and I think it really worked out for them with Battlefield 3, so they'll continue with that. And okay, so we say that the game gets released October of 2013. That's 2 years after Battlefield 3, and again, so that'll be about 9 months after the last BF3 DLC. Going back to what the general feel that I've seen so far from the Battlefield 3 community being, there's still so much life left in BF3. I guarantee you, come June 2013, the majority of the Battlefield community is going to be begging for a new game.
Right. I mean, and as far as talking about the abandonment of Battlefield 3, it's kind of silly to assume that DICE or any game developer, for that fact, will continue working on a game full-time after release. I'm sure the DLC and the maintenance of the game has been passed to a department within DICE for them to manage and do what they will with, but DICE at its core, I'm sure, is already looking towards the future, because the simple fact of the matter is they've made their money, and they need to find out where they're going to make their next pile of money. And I'm not saying that in the sense that they're screwing anybody by using the term pile of money. I just mean they're running a business. You can't put out a movie and then be like, yeah, that movie was awesome. I should be taken care of for the rest of my life because I made the best movie in 2012.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with a game. So they're moving forward. It is a little weird that they were this vocal this early about Battlefield 4, because we're right in the thick of Battlefield 3, and we're talking about pre-orders for Medal of Honor, which is technically their property too. So it's almost like they're undercutting Medal of Honor. If anything, I bet like hardcore Medal of Honor fans are like, what the hell?
Right. And I will concede to a point that I could definitely see the possibility that maybe there's not enough hype surrounding Medal of Honor Warfighter, and they're worried about sales. And you really cannot condone them for doing this, guys, because remember, it's a business. Like, yeah, we're all fans, and it's a video game industry, and a lot of us kind of take it like really to heart. We wear it on our sleeves with how much we are into the video game industry. But at its core, it's a business, and you have to remember that. Like, they're doing this because one, partly they enjoy it, but two, it's an ends to a means. This is their living. This is their income. This is how they make their living.
And it's sad. Like, you don't want to like suck the fun out of it when you get involved in like trying to figure out why they don't do like all these awesome things. Like pretty much every question by some like really good intentioned person that just loves video games, like saying, why don't they have like cross-platform play? Like, why can't I play with, like, that would be awesome. Everyone would love playing with the Xbox and the PS3 on the same online service. Like, nobody would lose in that. And while that's true, no customers would lose out in that, but Microsoft and Sony don't want to cooperate, and it's a business deal. Like, it comes down to like simple business. There's all these stupid money-making, running a proper business things that come into don't just come into, but flat out dictate the way the video game world works. And this just happens to be one of them. It's a hype train that they're starting up, and they're doing their best to keep interest or generate interest in one of their new properties, which is Medal of Honor. And when it comes to Medal of Honor and this early beta access, I mean, if you guys aren't interested in Medal of Honor, then I wouldn't let this sway you into getting Medal of Honor, because like I said before, I guarantee you they're going to mirror exactly what happened with Medal of Honor 2010. If you pre-ordered that or if you bought that, you got early access to the Battlefield 3 beta. And guess what? I didn't play Medal of Honor 2010, but I was in the Battlefield 3 beta for as long as most people I know, because in order to get in with your access code, you had to have your emails all hooked up and all kinds of stuff. So they're going to have an open beta to everyone, so everyone's going to get the chance to play it. That's just, I'm willing to bet money on that. It's gonna follow the exact same path that Battlefield 3 did with Medal of Honor 2010. Pre-orders, release dates, everything will be the same.
Yep, I will concur with all that. So I guess wrapping up this part of the discussion, I do not condone what. Well, does that make sense? No, I don't have a problem with what DICE is doing with the whole Battlefield 4 beta with getting. my God. Long day, guys. I'm sorry. This heat and the lack of sleep from my kid is killing me. Let's try that again. I do not have a problem whatsoever with what DICE is doing with the Battlefield 4 beta incentive to pre-ordering Medal of Honor Warfighter. Don't have a problem with it whatsoever. I don't think it's going to have any adverse effects on Battlefield 3 whatsoever either. So, you know, to those in the Battlefield community that are really kind of up in arms and worried about this, just kind of sit back for a second, take a deep breath, and really think the situation through. And you realize it's not as bad as you guys are all making it out to seem. This is actually nothing but positive. We're guaranteed a successor to one of the greatest games we've been playing that's certainly come out in the past 5 years, in my opinion. Probably one of the best first-person shooters since COD 4. I know I'm making the comparison, but I mean that's where we kind of got our start, and I still thought COD 4 was great. I don't have a problem with any of this. I think it's great. I'm looking forward to Battlefield 4, just the idea of it. I'm still excited for BF3 and all the DLC upcoming, and that's it on that part from my end.
Yeah, what it comes down to is this happens all the time. It happens every year with every game. The only difference this time is EA's trying to hype up Medal of Honor.
Yep.
So they dropped the BF4 bomb and let people get mad. But I guess I know a lot of people are talking about the whole Bad Company 3 thing and stuff like that being what they should be releasing and stuff like that. But that's probably not what they want. They're going to milk the Battlefield numbers because, you know, Call of Duty 4, like you said, hit, and then they got rid of the 4. They started changing the subtitles. So I'm willing to bet they'll ride it out, get the big Battlefield 4 sequel name out there, milk that for like a good solid release, get everyone hyped up, and then the next iteration of the Battlefield game, they might go to Bad Company 3, and then they'll do it again and do Bad Company 4, and then they'll start with a different sub-series or something like that.
Right.
It's like painfully predictable.
Yep, but so is the video game world.
Yeah, the important thing is not to get, you know, up in arms about it, because I mean, they do it all the time. They just happen to tell you about to have told you about it this time. Yep.
So, segueing into the next part of this, let's just cover Medal of Honor Warfighter. And I want to start this because I kind of feel like, no, I don't really feel like an idiot. It's just kind of funny how today played out. So I saw some Medal of Honor Warfighter. I'm just going to call it Warfighter from now on. I saw some Warfighter footage earlier today, and they released a new trailer. I think it was the alpha trailer, like last week. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, I mean, not only are they not really giving us a whole lot of actual multiplayer footage to look at, but from what I'm seeing, it looks just really, really chintzy. It looked very cheap. The gun sounds I could hear sounded awful. Like, it was very Modern Warfare 3-ish for how it made me feel. Like, it just kind of looked a little old, like nothing advanced, and the gun sounds were atrocious compared to Battlefield 3. And that's what I think one of the greatest things about Battlefield 3 is the gun sounds. How realistic they are. Like, I know they're not completely realistic, but they're more realistic than just about any other game. Yeah. And then everything, like, turned about face. Like, I completely backtracked on it about an hour later. And the source of it was kind of strange. It was a Freddie W video, not on his actual channel. It was on another channel. I promise we will put the link to this video in the description. However, if you click it, I ask that you say Shustybang sent me. That's all I ask. It was Freddie and Brandon, and then Nico and Sam, I believe, the guys from Corridor Digital, and they're doing like a little LAN party game playing, and they were playing Warfighter, and they showed a lot of the multiplayer footage from just the 4 of them playing. It looked really, really good, and the guns sounded phenomenal. Like, from what DICE was throwing out, or I'm sorry, not DICE, but whoever was throwing out all this footage, remind me again, I'm drawing a complete blank on who's developing Warfighter.
Well, it's DICE and EA.
I thought there was another, wasn't there a third company involved? Or am I just slightly retarded?
I don't know.
I unlocked Retarded Pro today. Okay, so it's funny because like all this, the few things that they have thrown out to show us what Warfighter looks like, I really haven't been all that impressed. And then I see this random video from someone like Freddie W, and all of a sudden I'm psyched on it because they actually showed a shit ton of multiplayer footage, and now I'm really stoked at it. I'm like, okay, looks good, sounds good, mechanics don't look too bad. I'm all of a sudden hyped on this game.
Yeah, I've had it set sort of in stone since I heard about it that I was gonna get it, because I regret not playing Medal of Honor 2010. I thought whenever I see footage, like it's that time of Battlefield 3's life cycle where people start posting Bad Company 2 and Medal of Honor and stuff like that, just to go back to something that they used to play and give people a change of pace as to what they're looking at. And every time I see footage of the Medal of Honor 2010, it makes me kind of bummed out that I didn't play it, because it looks fun. And whenever I talk to people about it, they say it was really fun, but there was just a few game-breaking little glitches to it. So I've always been planning on getting it, and to be honest, once I decide I'm going to get a game, I do like media avoidance mode, where I don't bother to look at anything until right before, just to confirm that I'm definitely going to get it. So I'm down with Medal of Honor, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I gotta say, after my complete about face, I just needed something else other than the generic crap that they were throwing at me in these, honestly, piss poor trailers. I'm not gonna lie, they were, my personal opinion, I know a lot of people feel different from me on this, but personally, I think that the trailers that they were throwing out for Warfighter just weren't doing it any justice. Like, they were like minute-and-a-half trailers, and of that minute-and-a-half, you had like 30 to 40 seconds of some crap intro and then crap outro, and then what little actual gameplay you saw was mixed in with some weird cinematic crap. So
yeah, well,
all in all, you got to see like 20 seconds of actual gameplay.
They did a similar thing with Battlefield 3, and they still do it now with like when they're advertising for Close Quarters and Battlefield Premium and stuff like that. They show like these really fast-paced moments of multiplayer combined with weird visual blur effects and like light streaks across the screen that make it really hard to see exactly what's going on. But it makes more sense to us now because we've all been playing Battlefield for however many months. But it's hard to gauge a game when they go and like fluff it up in these trailers. Yep. And then especially when they're talking about like, oh, key features in Medal of Honor Warfighter are going to be such and such mode where you do this and that and this, and nobody cares about any of that. They just want to like we're just looking for like a nice clean updated shooter. We don't need the 100 different modes that these developers are trying to like talk up in their little trailer interviews. So
I think that's it. We've covered everything for our thoughts on Battlefield 4 Beta and Medal of Honor Warfighter.
Yeah.
Alright guys, we'd really appreciate it if you could give us some feedback. Let us know what you think about the whole BF4 Beta coming with Medal of Honor Warfighter, or let us know what you think of Warfighter. I guess I'm optimistic, but not as optimistic about it as I was about Battlefield 3. But I think it'll still be a pretty good game.
Yeah. So leave us a comment down below. We're most interested in what you think of the Battlefield 4 beta situation, what your overall feelings are, and more importantly, whether or not listening to us has adjusted those feelings.
Ah, good point.
Because it's easy to jump off the handle when you hear about something. But And then if somebody doesn't sort of get in your ear and say, hey, it's not as bad as you think, then it's easy to keep thinking those original thoughts. So
cool. I think that wraps it up. I'll let you sign us off here.
All right, guys, thanks for watching, and leave a comment below, leave a rating on the video if you actually liked it, and we will catch you guys next time. If you're looking for a little bit more Shusty Bang in your internet, be sure to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/snoop603 and twitter.com/fakethriller. In addition, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/shustybang. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitch TV so you can catch up with all our live streams in the future. twitch.tv/fakethriller.